thank you very much, Monica, for the question, and thank you also to the World Economic Forum and the Global Infrastructure Hub for inviting me to this very interesting and important session. So to give you some of my thoughts on the impacts that we've seen on our experience in terms of quality infrastructure, I guess I would start by saying that all of the investments that EBRD is involved in financing are required to deliver impact beyond the investment of the infrastructure and the assets themselves. And typically this has involved focusing on commercialization, private sector collaboration, and improving governance in line with our private sector mandate. But I would say even for the last 10 years, which is quite a long time when I think about it, we've also been pursuing a goal of quality infrastructure which promotes sustainability, resilience, and inclusion. So it really goes back even before we started to formulate the strategies around this type of agenda for the bank and for our clients in the countries that we're operating in. So as a result of this, given that infrastructure takes quite a long time to prepare and implement, we've actually seen a large number of quality infrastructure projects that deliver significant economic and social benefits. And what I'd like to do very briefly is just give a couple of examples to illustrate the type of impacts we see. For example, we supported an irrigation project not so long ago in Morocco, where we were providing both loan funding and also we mobilized a substantial grant from the Green Climate Fund to invest in the water conveyance and irrigation networks in Sais in Morocco. And the idea or the aim was to preserve the Sais aquifer, which had been overexploited for many years. And the impact of not doing this would be that the 3,000 local farmers that depend on this plain for their livelihoods, the local farmers, that they could face a situation where this plain just became desert land in only 25 years. Now, the impact of that investment, or the expected impact of the investment, is that around 1.8 million people will benefit from improved water security. Over 20,000 hectares of land would be irrigated sustainably. Average water savings are estimated at around 11 million cubic meters a year, and around 30%, around a 30% increase in the number of employment days is expected for the local farmers. And in addition to this, the bank is providing technical assistance to help train around 200 women in leadership skills so that they can benefit from the commercial agricultural opportunities that the region offers. And with up to 70 women expected to lead micro, small and medium-sized enterprises as a result of this support. So quite high impacts from just that one project. Another example, just to mention very quickly, where we see significant social and economic benefits is a fleet renewal project that we did with Egyptian Railways, which you wouldn't expect necessarily would have high impacts. But in this case, we were providing funding for electric passenger train sets to operate on the Alexandria-Cairo route, which is a very important route between these two major cities. And this was part of the sort of 10-year renewal program, fleet renewal program of the railways. And as a result, the passengers benefit from safer, more reliable and faster services, but at the same time, the additional capacity reduces the overcrowding, it encourages a shift from road to rail, and in doing so, it reduces the congestion on the road network. But on top of this, the project built in an innovative supply and maintenance contract under which the new train sets will be maintained by the private sector, which was a completely new concept for Egyptian Railways, which has a terrible record of maintaining its fleet. And encouragingly, the Railways has actually adopted this model for the other contracts that it's placing for the renewal of its fleet, which are not financed by the bank. And on top of this, we also had technical assistance to help the railways to undertake a gender-based needs assessment, particularly for vulnerable users of the railway network, and in this case, women and elderly and so on, and also to train key staff in raising their awareness of the needs of women and responding to it in an effective way. Now, we have a number of strategies and initiatives within the bank which drive these kinds of impacts through the projects that we're financing with our clients. And it all starts with the sector strategies that we have for our municipal, our transport and our energy sectors. And they all focus on delivering quality infrastructure, and they have done for some time now, as I mentioned. In addition to this, we have a green economy transition approach, we have a strategy for promoting gender equality, and we also have an economic inclusion strategy. And these are key impact drivers. These are the things which we use in order to encourage our clients to deliver better quality infrastructure. And we're currently in the process of developing new and far-reaching strategies in each of these areas, as well as developing an overarching strategy to guide the bank's activities over the next 5 years, which is targeting low carbon, equal opportunities and technology enhancement across the region. And one thing I wanted to mention, which I know is a theme that's been picked up on by other panelists, is the common feature of our quality infrastructure strategies and initiatives is the importance of data. And what we see in the region that we're operating in is that the availability of data is actually quite poor in many cases. And our clients do not always have the capacity to interpret the good data, even if it's there for them to use, in order to develop effective policies and strategies which will allow them to achieve greater social and economic benefits from their investing in quality infrastructure. I think this issue is particularly relevant in relation to the investment in smart and digital infrastructure, which is increasing and is becoming increasingly important following this the impacts of the COVID-19 crisis. And I think here the EBRD and others have a key role to play in building that capacity across the region to ensure that the infrastructure providers can benefit fully from the investments that they're making in technology enhancements, and in allowing them to collect the data, to transfer the data, to interpret the data, will improve their understanding of how quality infrastructure can facilitate inclusion and how they can measure the impacts of that. Now, you asked me, very briefly, you asked me about the role that non-government stakeholders can play in accelerating this inclusive infrastructure agenda. And I do believe that multilateral development banks like the EBRD have a key role to play in this area. And I just wanted to mention another initiative where low carbon, equal opportunities and technology enhancement all comes together under one program, and that's the EBRD's Green Cities program. And so what we do here, alongside the investment that we're supporting in city infrastructure, is we help our cities to develop a Green City Action Plan, which sets out green, inclusive and smart strategies that the private sector will help the cities to deliver. And despite the crisis, we're actually seeing continued uptake in this initiative. And what's new with this initiative now is we are really building into every Green City Action Plan that we support a smart maturity assessment, so that the cities and the managers that are managing the infrastructure can really benefit from the smart solutions which are being introduced through these plans. And gender and inclusion, these are a natural enhancement of this program to ensure that the cities systematically deliver quality, inclusive infrastructure. So I'll leave it there and look forward to the questions later on in the session. Thanks very much.